Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that has lied to you since the day you were born. You were told that if you just show up, if you play it safe, if you keep your head down, everything will eventually work out. You were told that someday, someone or something would come and pull you out of your struggles, out of your mediocrity, out of your misery. But let me tell you with absolute clarity, nobody is coming. Nobody is going to carry you across the finish line. Nobody is going to hand you your dreams, your wealth, your health, or your freedom. And the faster you accept that truth, the faster you can start living in reality. And reality is where success is built. As a neuroscientist, I want to peel back the curtain on how the human brain actually works in relation to effort, resilience, and growth. Your brain is not wired to make you happy, rich, or fulfilled. It's wired to keep you alive. That means it will always pull you toward the path of least resistance. It whispers, rest, relax, wait, maybe tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes for most people. What does come is decades of regret. And the data is clear. The single most powerful predictor of long-term success is not intelligence, not talent, not even opportunity. It's relentless work ethic. The willingness to push harder, longer, and more consistently than anyone else. I've seen this proven in labs and in life. In neuroscience studies, when participants were pushed beyond their perceived limits, their brains lit up with activity in areas linked to adaptation and growth. In other words, growth only begins where comfort ends. That means the only way forward is to suffer deliberately, to embrace the pain, and to work harder than your mind tells you is possible. Because that's where the rewiring happens. That's where resilience is born. But let me make this brutally clear. Effort is not optional. Life doesn't give participation trophies that mean anything. If you're broke, nobody's coming with a bag of money. If you're overweight, nobody's coming with a new body. If you're lost, nobody's coming with a map. You either grind or you rot. And most people choose to rot, hiding behind excuses and distractions, hoping someone else will rescue them. They don't realize that waiting is a slow form of suicide. Think about the biographies of people who built empires. They didn't wait for a savior, they became their own savior. When Andrew Carnegie immigrated to America, he didn't arrive with wealth or a support system. He arrived with nothing but an obsession to outwork every single person around him. He read while others slept. He invested when others hesitated. He moved when others stayed frozen. That's not luck, that's discipline. That's obsession. That's working harder than anyone else because he knew nobody was coming to hand him steel mills or railroads. And this applies not just in business, but in health and relationships in every area of life. As a neuroscientist, I've studied why marriages collapse, why people break under pressure, why so many live lives of quiet desperation. The common thread is always the same. People outsource responsibility. They assume someone else will fill the gaps. They think their partner will make them happy. Their boss will make them secure. Their government will make them safe. But the truth is, happiness, security, and safety are personal responsibilities. Nobody else can carry that weight for you. Now, some of you may say, but I don't have the resources, the connections, the background. Let me remind you, your brain is the most powerful resource you'll ever possess. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, ensures that you can learn, adapt, and reinvent yourself at any age. Do you understand how extraordinary that is? It means that if you've been lazy for 20 years, you can still flip the switch. If you've been making excuses your whole life, your brain can still transform. But here's the catch. Neuroplasticity only responds to repeated, focused effort. That means work. Hard work, consistent work. The kind of work that feels like it's breaking you because it is breaking you. It's breaking the old version of you so a stronger one can emerge. But let me share something deeper, something most people don't want to hear. Hard work is lonely. You'll be misunderstood, you'll be criticized. Your friends will mock you for being too intense. Your family will call you obsessed, and they'll all tell you to slow down, to relax, to wait. Why? Because your hard work exposes their laziness. Your obsession reminds them of their mediocrity. People don't like being reminded of what they could be, so they'll try to pull you back down. That's not a sign to stop. That's proof you're on the right path. Let me give you an example from health research. In studies on exercise and physical transformation, the greatest predictor of success wasn't the specific program, the diet, or even genetics. It was adherence. The people who got results weren't the ones who found the perfect plan. They were the ones who simply refused to quit. While others skipped workouts, they showed up. While others complained about soreness, they trained anyway. While others were binge watching Netflix, they were sweating. Over months and years, that consistency compounded. That is the science of discipline. Small, repeated actions, rewiring the brain, reshaping the body, rebuilding the identity. So let me ask you directly, what are you doing when nobody is watching? Are you waiting for the world to rescue you, or are you outworking everyone else? Because the truth is, the hours when nobody sees you are the hours that define you. The late nights, the early mornings, the weekends sacrificed. That's when greatness is built. Not in the spotlight, but in the dark, when nobody claps, nobody cares, nobody comes. I want you to consider this. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you're reinforcing weakness in your neural circuits. Your brain learns that giving up is acceptable. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, your brain etches that delay into its wiring. And over time, you don't even notice it anymore. You just become a person who quits. But the opposite is also true. Every time you push, every time you choose discipline over ease, every time you work when others rest, your brain wires in strength. That's not motivation. That's neuroscience. You are literally sculpting your identity with your choices. And here's the part that should scare you into action. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Neuroplasticity is strongest when you're young, but it doesn't disappear with age. It just slows. That means the price of procrastination compounds. The longer you delay, the more your brain hardens into the shape of mediocrity. And then one day you wake up and wonder why you're stuck, why nothing ever changes. The answer is simple. You trained your brain to stay stuck. Now imagine instead you decide today that nobody is coming. Imagine you burn that into your brain so deeply that you stop waiting for luck, for saviors, for miracles. And instead you commit to outworking everyone. Imagine the compounding effect of that over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Do you know what happens? You become unstoppable. Not because you're smarter, not because you're gifted, but because you refuse to quit while everyone else folded. Ladies and gentlemen, success is not complicated. It's brutal, but it's not complicated. Work harder than anyone else. Refuse to wait for rescue. Understand your brain is wired against you and fight it anyway. Use neuroplasticity to your advantage by repeating effort until your identity changes. Accept that nobody is coming to save you because that's the most liberating truth you'll ever embrace. Now, the only question that matters is, will you live like everyone else, waiting, hoping, dying slowly? Or will you decide right now to outwork the world and take what life has denied to the weak? Because the door is open, but you're the only one who can walk through it. Let's go even deeper, because this isn't just about hard work in the abstract. This is about building an entire mindset, an entire neurological framework that forces you to become unstoppable. Most people misunderstand what discipline really is. They think it's about motivation, about waking up every morning excited and ready to conquer the world. That's a fairy tale. Discipline is what you do when you don't feel like it, when you're exhausted, when you're doubting yourself, when every fiber of your body says, stop. That's where the rewiring happens. That's where you harden yourself into someone the world can't break. Neuroscience tells us something profound about stress. Your brain doesn't grow under comfort. It grows under challenge. The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making, planning, focus, strengthens when you put it under strain. Think about lifting weights. You don't get stronger by staying within what's comfortable. You get stronger by stressing the muscle, by pushing it until it nearly breaks. The brain is the same. You force it to adapt by demanding more from yourself than you think you're capable of. That's why people who consistently work harder than anyone else not only achieve more, they become more. Their brains literally transform to handle more pressure, more complexity, more responsibility. And here's the brutal truth. If you're not demanding that of yourself, you're weakening. There's no neutral ground in life. You're either growing stronger through deliberate suffering, or you're decaying through comfort and complacency. There's no middle lane where you can just coast and expect greatness to arrive. That's why so many people die with regret. They thought they could coast their way into a meaningful life. They thought if they waited long enough, opportunities would knock. But opportunities don't knock. They have to be hunted down, wrestled, and claimed. Let me give you a story from medicine. In cardiac rehabilitation programs, patients recovering from heart attacks are given two options: commit to lifestyle change through disciplined work, or risk another attack. You'd think the fear of death would be enough to drive discipline, but studies show that the majority of patients, even after nearly dying, fail to make the necessary changes. Why? Because they're waiting for someone to save them. They believe a doctor, a pill, a surgery will solve the problem. They don't accept that it's on them. The minority who do the hard work, exercise daily, transform their diets, manage stress, those are the ones who rebuild their health and extend their lives. It's the same principle across everything. The savior you're waiting for isn't coming. You either do the work or you pay the price. And let me warn you, the price of inaction is steep. It's not just financial, though that's obvious when you look at the people who waste decades waiting for the right job, the right partner, the right idea. It's emotional. Inaction rots your self-respect. Every time you betray yourself by not showing up, by not grinding, by not pushing through, your subconscious remembers. You may fool others with excuses, but you can't fool your own brain. Deep down, you know when you quit. And over time, that self-betrayal becomes shame, and shame is a prison. People spend lifetimes locked inside it, never understanding why they feel worthless. It's because they chose to be worthless when it was time to work. Now let's contrast that with the life of those who commit to outworking everyone. Look at elite athletes. Do you think they're naturally more talented? Some are, yes, but the real difference is that they train harder. Michael Jordan was famously the first one in the gym and the last to leave. Kobe Bryant would train for hours before his teammates even woke up. That wasn't magic, that was obsession. That was an understanding that the world rewards the unreasonable, the ones who demand more of themselves than anyone else could. Their opponents waited for talent to save them. Jordan and Kobe understood the truth. Nobody was coming to save them. They had to save themselves by working harder than anyone else alive. And here's the piece that most people miss. Working harder doesn't just change your external results, it changes who you are. In neuroscience, we talk about identity being a construct of repeated neural patterns. Yourself is essentially the habits you reinforce. When you choose to work harder, to sacrifice, to persist, you're not just accomplishing tasks, you're carving a new identity into your brain. You're becoming the kind of person who does not quit. That's why the people who grind relentlessly don't just achieve more, they are more. They embody strength because they've built it, one choice at a time. Let me ask you something. If tomorrow every safety net in your life disappeared, no government, no friends, no family to catch you, could you survive? Could you fight? Could you build something from nothing? Because that's the reality of life, whether you admit it or not. Those safety nets are illusions. At some point, every one of them will fail you. People die, jobs vanish, economies collapse, friends betray. And when that happens, the only thing left is whether you've built yourself into someone who can outwork, outlast, and outfight the storm. That's why working harder than anyone else isn't just about success, it's about survival. I've seen it in war survivors, in refugees, in patients fighting terminal illness. The ones who made it weren't necessarily the strongest or the smartest. They were the ones who refused to give up. They were the ones who woke up every day and pushed harder, even when hope seemed gone. And their brains, through sheer force of will, rewired to keep them going. That's the survival instinct, and it's the same instinct you need if you want to build anything great in this life. But let's not sugarcoat this. Hard work hurts. It's supposed to. Pain is the signal that you're rewiring your brain, that you're stepping beyond the old limits. In studies on resilience, we find that individuals who voluntarily expose themselves to stress through physical training, mental challenges, disciplined routines, are far better equipped to handle trauma later in life. Why? Because they've taught their nervous system that suffering is not the enemy, they've built capacity. Meanwhile, the ones who hide from effort break at the first sign of stress. One setback, one insult, one failure, and they collapse. So the choice is simple. You either condition yourself to embrace pain through hard work, or you'll be destroyed by pain when life throws it at you. And make no mistake, life will throw it at you. Illness, betrayal, financial loss, death, it's coming for all of us. You can't control that. The only thing you can control is whether you're prepared to handle it. And the preparation is the grind, the discipline, the obsession with outworking everyone else. Now let me give you a brutal image to hold on to. Picture yourself on your deathbed. You're old, weak, your body fading. And in that moment, your brain floods with reflection. What do you think you'll regret? Not the money you spent, not the vacations you missed, not the nights of comfort you skipped. No, the regrets that torture people at the end of life are always the same. The risks they didn't take, the potential they didn't chase, the work they refused to do. They regret waiting, they regret hoping someone would save them. And they realize too late that the person who could have saved them was in the mirror all along. So I ask you, do you want to reach that point with regret clawing at your soul? Or do you want to reach it knowing you squeezed every ounce of potential out of your life, that you bled, sweat, and fought until there was nothing left to give? That's the only real choice, and it's made not in the future, not on your deathbed, but right now in the decisions you make today. Nobody's coming, nobody. It's you, your brain, your discipline, your grind. It's all you have. And that's all you need. Work harder than anyone else, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to live without regret, the only way to live free, the only way to live fully alive. And let me tell you this, when you embrace that truth, when you stop waiting for rescue, you'll experience a freedom most people never know, because suddenly you realize that everything you've been waiting for has been in your hands all along. The Savior you prayed for is your own relentless will. And once you accept that, once you live it, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. So stop waiting, stop hoping, stop praying for someone else to do it for you. Nobody's coming. It's your time, your fight, your grind. Work harder than anyone else, outwork the world. Build the life you want with your own hands, your own sweat, your own blood. And when you do, you'll never need saving again, because you'll have saved yourself.